Okay, so forget everything you think you know about old school composers. Seriously, today we're not talking about some dusty history lesson. We are talking about a massive, super elaborate prank that involves secret identities, a revenge plot, and one of the wildest parties ever put on a stage. Let's get into it.
I mean, really think about it for a sec. You're supposed to be in a jail cell tonight, but you just got an invite to this absolutely epic party thrown by a prince. So what do? Well, whatever you just answered, that choice is the key to one of the most famous musical comedies of all time.
Yeah, that crazy choice is the whole setup for a world-famous operetta called Die Fledermaus, which, by the way, literally means the bat. And trust me, the story behind this show is just as wild as its plot.
So let me just break down this chaos for you. You've got a husband who decides to ditch his jail sentence to go to a party. Then, his wife, who thinks he's locked up, crashes that exact same party in a disguise to see what he's up to. Even their maid gets on the action, showing up and pretending to be some famous artist. And the best part? This entire hot mess is actually a giant, complicated revenge prank, and the whole thing is set to some of the catchiest music you've ever heard.
A story this fun and this out there couldn't have just been written by anybody. Nope, it took a special kind of genius, a guy who really knew a thing or two about breaking the rules.
So, let's meet the man himself, Johann Strauss II. And no, he was not some stuffy old composer in a powdered wig. This guy was basically the 19th century version of a rock star, a total rebel who had to fight his own family just for the chance to make music.
And this was the battle he was facing. His dad, who was also a famous composer by the way, completely forbade him from even touching an instrument. The big plan was for Johann to become a banker, a safe, boring, predictable job. But Johann? He had other ideas. He started taking violin lessons on the sly and studying music theory in secret, totally defying his dad to chase his dream.
To put it in terms we'd understand today, it's like if your parents had your entire life mapped out for you to become a doctor or a lawyer, but all you wanted to do was drop everything and become a professional gamer. That was the level of drama we're talking about here. He wasn't just picking a different career path, he was picking a whole different universe.
And his rebellious streak didn't just stop with his family. Strauss was a true innovator who looked at the music of his time and basically hit the level up button on the entire scene.
So, before Strauss came along, the waltz was already a thing. It was popular, but it was kind of basic. Think of it like one of those viral TikTok dances. Super fun, everyone knows the moves, but nobody's calling it high art, right? And this is where he changed the game. Strauss took that simple dance and totally transformed it. He added these rich, complex harmonies. He injected these new, lively rhythms, and he wrote these absolutely epic, unforgettable melodies on top. He single-handedly turned a simple folk dance into a huge, elegant, orchestral masterpiece.
He brought that same energy to something called the operetta. So think of it this way. If a big, serious opera is like an epic 3-hour Marvel movie, an operetta is more like your favorite musical sitcom. It's shorter, it's way funnier, people actually talk instead of just singing all the time, and its main job is just to make sure you have a good time. And Strauss, he became the undisputed king of the operetta.
Which brings us right back to Die Fledermaus, the ultimate party operetta. This is the show where Strauss poured all of his rebellious energy, his incredible gift for melody, and his love for a good time into one single masterpiece.
He wrote the whole thing back in 1874, and when it premiered in Vienna later that year, people went absolutely nuts for it. It was an instant smash hit. The jokes, the drama, and especially that music, it just clicked with everybody.
So what was this genius prank actually about? Well, it was all cooked up by this character, Dr. Falk, as a way to get revenge on his buddy, Eisenstein. The guy who was supposed to be in jail. The plan was pretty simple but brilliant. Get everyone into the same room, all in disguises, and then just lean back and watch the hilarious, awkward chaos explode.
And the music in the show is like a greatest hits album all by itself. You've got the overture at the beginning, which is basically like a movie trailer that gives you a taste of all the best songs. You've got dramatic solos, you've got these super fun, upbeat dances called polkas, and of course the heart of the party scenes, those incredible sweeping waltzes that just make you feel like you're right there in the ballroom.
So why are we still talking about a guy who wrote party music over 150 years ago? Well, it's because his impact ended up being so much bigger than just a few good songs.
If you boil it all down, it comes to this. Before Strauss, dance music was just for dancing. After Strauss, that same music was being performed in the biggest and best concert halls in the world. He elevated the entire genre.
I mean, his influence is pretty much everywhere. He's the guy who made the waltz a global sensation. He pretty much wrote the playbook for funny musical comedies, which you can see leads straight to the Broadway shows we have today. And his music is still played every single New Year's in Vienna and at huge concerts all over the globe. The guy's a legend. He's not going anywhere.
So when you really think about it, by choosing to be a rebel and break his dad's rules, Johann Strauss didn't just build a career his father didn't want for him. He completely changed the game and created a whole new way to tell funny, relatable stories using music.
And that kind of leaves us with one last question. Strauss broke the rules of his family and the rules of music to create something totally unforgettable. So it makes you wonder, what rules in your world, at school, in your hobbies, in the stuff you create, could you maybe bend just a little to make something that nobody has ever seen before?